All right, and I am back. So today is day 77 of creating a 28 pair trading EA system that actually works and makes money. Two very important things. So current time is 1:36 a.m. and it's 9:25. So let's get right into the video. Basically, there's not a lot of plans for today. This is pretty much right after I recorded and finished the other one, and we'll see where the day takes us. All right, let's get right into it. I'm actually really excited because it actually worked the way that I was hoping it was, with a little bit of changes since last time. So like I said, today's day 77. Day 75, we worked on these two problems that I was having with it. Now we're moving on to these two. Got these two fixed and worked out. Did a little bit of testing from yesterday. Right now it is 1:41 a.m. 9:25 2019. So basically like a little bit after, just watching and figuring out if this is gonna work. The first problem I actually ran into while testing was this would close multiple times. So what I mean by that is, what would happen is the ask would equal this, would equal the take profit. And I actually ended up changing this to where if at any time the ask is above it or even equal to, right? So that way it's just more flexible, because if there's a big spike in the market or something like that, then it will still trigger. So a little bit more flexibility, which is nicer. So basically now what we're looking at is that it happens, right? So what was happening before was it would trigger and it would just instantly get rid of half, get rid of half, get rid of half, get rid of half, and then it would finally stop. So basically the way I went around this and fixed the problems that I was having was basically instead of just running it and making sure that this ran first, right? Because I was getting that problem where it kept just exiting multiple times, and I didn't want that. So what I ended up doing was I went back up here. Now what I did was I was trying to put in a sleep function, right? So it would wait 5 seconds between it, because to give it time to know, oh look, I've already moved it to break even and stuff. I don't have to keep exiting half. So I was like, okay, cool, easy. I'll just put in the sleep function. Didn't exactly work because it needs to be an if statement. I was trying to put it down in here. It needs to be an if statement in order to close this, and that wasn't working out. So a little bit later I was like, okay, well, let me put a sleep function in here and here in order for it to wait before entering or I guess before giving it the correct direction or giving it a signal that it what it needs to do, right? So I did that at first, but it kept throwing off my timer here, the current time function here, and it kept waiting 10 seconds every time. So then what I did after that was I made sure that this function would actually have to be true before putting it in the sleep function, right? So now what happens is this will run, right? It'll give it time in order for this to actually exit half and then move the break even function, right? So that got done, right? And then before that, it has to run back through, and then it'll wait 5 more seconds, giving it time to then it'll send the code again, right? It'll be like, oh yeah, we need to get this done. And it's like, okay, no problem. Let me get this done real quick for you, right? And it runs through this, and then it gets stopped, because by then the computer realizes, oh, I've already moved this and I've already done this. No point in doing it again. So that's where we're at right now. This trade just happened. Really good. I had to wait because if I turned off my computer or put it into sleep mode, it wouldn't trigger, because the EA has to be running in order to trigger this, right? Because there's no take profit and all that. So, but it did really good. Exited half. I moved this to 1 pip. Yep. So I was talking about that as well, moving it to 1 pip only instead of 5. gives it a little bit more time to run and stuff. That way I can actually see it. Otherwise, sometimes it would just trigger immediately and both of them would close back to back. And I just wanted to make sure that I could see it happen. So I stayed up a little bit longer than I was hoping to. I was hoping to get a little bit reading. I still think I'm going to get some reading in. But yeah, that's it for right now. Wake up tomorrow, see what other ideas. Might start implementing it like I was talking about last time. So I'll keep it updated, but that's it for right now. So I guess we'll see what time I get back to coding and trying to finish up this project. So that's it for now. Alright, so I am finally back. Been a real busy day, just hanging out, went to dinner and stuff like that. So basically, it's not a wasted day. Is actually super productive. Basically just being able to watch how the bot was reacting to different things and seeing if the code actually worked. I wasn't able to fully see it, like watch it, but I was able to watch transactions happen on the phone and see if any problems happened. There was a couple, so when I got back a little bit, I just worked and changed a little bit of the code. So basically, let me just walk you through a little bit of what I changed. This was just a quality of life change right here, the object delete. That way I don't have to delete it every single time. It just prints basically. So now, or it just deletes the old order. That way I no longer have to delete it myself. Going also, I'm going to talk about one of the problems that I was having. One of the problems was basically that I think it was a sell. During a sell trade, it kept just selling, right? Same problem I was having before with one of the buys, I think. It would just keep halving it, and I would think this sleep code would help prevent that. So far, I haven't actually seen it do it again. I'm waiting for another sell trade to go through in order to see if this actually does happen now, because basically what I did, the computer I don't think was running during the time, but it had to have, because it would have had to have, because otherwise it wouldn't actually close it multiple times. So basically, I guess, I don't know, I'll have to see why it did that. But yeah, so that's what I'm watching right now. I'm just going to be reading a little bit of Dale Carnegie's book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Going to be reading that for a little bit and basically just seeing what the bot does. One last change, actually, before this part of the recording is done, and I'll update later tonight and post this. Basically, another one was sometimes trades want to go through. I'm running this on the 5-minute chart, so 1.5 stop loss wasn't working too well, because sometimes the spread was 1.5. So it would automatically, it would just cancel the order, because the spread at the time it would automatically close, so the order wouldn't actually go through. So I changed it to where now it's a static take profit and stop loss. So basically right now it's at 7. I might change it down to something even smaller, just to try to basically get the code to keep running on live markets. So I'll keep, I guess, myself updated, because my future self will probably be watching this. That's about it. So, keeping my future self up to date. So you're welcome, future self. Alright, so it's about 2 hours later, 2.5 hours. And I think everything's all set, actually. So I actually ended up figuring out what the problem was with a lot of it. As you can see here, I actually moved the stop loss and take profit. Stop loss is now 4 pips, and take profit is 3 pips. This was just so I can quickly test a lot of different ideas that I had. So you can see here, it actually did work. Closed out just one. Let me go to experts real quick. So you can see right here, open, right, and then closes half, right, but right there, yeah. So closes half, and then modifies the rest of it. So all that worked. So actually, what ended up being the problem in all of this, why it kept selling multiple times, I actually ended up figuring out. So a shortcut that I used in order to get the stop loss to break even at a certain point, and then, or not break, here, right here is the break even function, and then right here to close half of it was right here. So order open price has to be greater than the order stop loss, right? And that only happens if this hasn't been moved yet, right? Well, what happened was these were backwards. Not these ones. The buy was fine. The sell, because I just copied and then pasted it back here and then changed all this without even addressing this, it was backwards. So that's why I kept doing it. And as well as in the expert coding, instead of this modify, or it was open, close, modify is the order it should be in. It used to be open, modify, then close. So that was a problem. So now it looks like it's all working well. So yeah, that's basically about it. That was the problem that I was having, and luckily I figured it out. So now I'm just gonna let it keep running and testing. So looks like it's doing pretty good right now. Just did that and close it. So I think what I'm gonna actually add another thing to it is go to, because this is just a test function, test out one more thing so it can actually be fully automated now, is I could actually add a take profit in here instead of just a 0. I'll look probably into doing that, just so I can get a little bit more information, more data on it. So I just changed this number to something a little bit higher than my take profit that's up here, and just not connect the two. So maybe put this to like 6, right? So if this happens, it closes and then it can just keep going through the test. This function here where it closes it and then deletes it has actually been working really well as also, which is great news. So I think that's it for today. So yeah, I think that's good information. I think everything's solid. I think I can start moving through and actually start updating the full 28 EA trading robot. So that's the goal for tomorrow, at least. Maybe start just trying to implement it. I'm probably just going to make a copy of the one that I'm currently using, just to mess around with it and stuff. We'll see how it goes. So that's it for today. Day 77, I believe it was. And so tomorrow is day 78. So look forward to that.